So we are online. Jermaine, you want to sit here? Since you'll be the one doing working late today.
Sure. What do you need me to be showing? Just
Let's add stuff to the logo
add stuff.
based on the size.
Okay.
Yeah. Mic is live.
Is the music on or
No, no music.
do you wanna start with the music or?
No, we can get started.
Alright, cool.
Mic we're on, so just switch to
Sure.
big faces this time. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are live. We're live.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello, guys. Welcome to our newest stream. Today we'll be talking about pretty much what we've been working on so far with the game and future ideas coming forward. So adding different elements. Today I'm going to be looking into a bit more of just the environment design, putting together objects in the scene of different levels, different scales, give the seagull something to eat, and we're going to come up with a bit more logic towards like how the seagull eats, what happens when he eats something too big, what happens when he eats something too small. A bit more concepting, brainstorming, coming up with ideas, as well as working on the overall look of the game and stuff like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Carry on.
Yes. I'll let you take it.
I just want to say hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hello to the people in the chat. We have Bruckter, Upstairs Grow, Andrea Kwan. Hello. Yes, we can stream on LinkedIn. It's crazy and it's super simple. It's just one button. It's amazing what you can do nowadays. So today, as Jermaine said, we'll carry on from last week. You wanna give us a quick playthrough, Jermaine?
Yeah, sure.
Just switch to monitor. There you go.
Cool.
So just press play.
So if we go play through the game right now, I assume it's the same controls. Shift to glide.
Yep. I may be slightly smaller, slightly slower. No, it's not. So
Yeah, it's fine. So you got the normal animation plus the glide animation, which I think is really cool.
wow, this is super fast.
You might need to work on the speed of it or make some tweaks.
Yeah, and now we already have a logic where you eat stuff, the seagull gets bigger, and the camera. And what we did last week was just move the camera backwards as the seagull gets bigger, so we can keep seeing the whole of the seagull and be able to play the game better. Here you go. You can notice that the seagull is slightly bigger already.
It also speeds up a bit more as you press the glide button, which is a good feature.
Yeah.
Let me just make sure I get all of these.
Yeah. There you go. So today we'll be building up the scenario. I like the land shark I just saw. Yeah, Andrea, the land shark. The seagull is able to eat the land shark if it gets big enough. I think we set the size of the fries too small. There you go. You cannot eat this shark yet. But anyway, so today we're going to build on the scenario, and a quick recap of how the logic of the eating logic works is. So the seagull has a size, and once it touches an object, it checks first of all if the object is edible, and if it is edible, what is the size of the object. And if the object is smaller than the seagull is able to eat it. Otherwise, we still figuring out what the mechanic is going to be, but if it's bigger than the seagull, it won't be able to eat it. So today we're going to build a scenario, and one idea we were talking about it. The idea is to start to add objects in a progression of stuff that the seagull can eat, right? So right now the seagull starts with a size of 1, and the French fries have a size of 0.1, meaning that the seagull can eat that. So we could start with an object that is slightly bigger than a cup of fries. No?
Yeah,
What do you think we could add?
exactly. So this is where Anything Well comes in, and as you know, we have a tool in Anything Well that allows us access to a big library of different assets, and that's what we're going to just be using now to just search for different edible objects that a seagull might like to eat. So we've got fries already down here. So one thing I was using while testing a few weeks ago was burgers. Slightly larger than fries, if I can spell. I think that'll be just a logical progression upwards. So on here we've already got like a few different like tasty burgers. This is the one I used originally, but also think like if you wanted to get into technicalities, you can do like a start with a small burger, some fries, maybe then the burger, fries with a drink, the whole package. So like almost the kids meal or the Big Mac meal. Let me just double check where that burger's gone. So
There it is.
cool, our burger spawn right here. Look at our inspector. The scale is 0.02. If we click on one of our fries, the scale is 0.04. So the burger just needs to be a little bit bigger to beat our fries. So we're going to change this to, whoops, too big.
I'm not gonna read upstairs girls comment because I'm not gonna drop brands here unless they sponsor us. So it's if they give us some money, I'll say their name. Otherwise,
Cool, so I've just changed the scale of the burger to 0.06. Now let's just put it next to the fries for a little bit of comparison. Right now, the reason why we're putting them all together in a bunch is so that, just in case anybody was wondering, so that we can just have an idea of how it affects the seagull while we're testing it, rather than putting it all over the scene.
I think the burger could be slightly bigger, shouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's a bit too modest, so we need like a proper size burger. So let's change this to 0.1. That's a tasty burger.
Yeah. That looks better.
Cool. Alright, so that's a cool looking burger right next to the fries. So you can imagine this will probably give him, in the logic, some extra size. Maybe it gives him 0.2 or something in terms of the
Right.
scale. But then we can continue to look onto all this stuff. Like if you see this, you've got a brunch basket or something like that with the whole shebang, and we've got a whole meal. So we've got a few options in terms of burgers and food and stuff like that.
The brunch should be a proper, at least a 0.75.
Yeah.
It looks pretty big.
Yeah, so it's like
There you go.
it's looking nice, like a nice. It even comes with a frying pan, some tea, some drinks, some tea, some frying pans.
Sandwiches. Yeah, that's a proper meal.
Got everything, man. Everything a seagull needs. So, yeah, so this is a nice banquet that we prepared for the seagull. So
Before we add other objects, may I suggest we just wrap up the logic of the burger? So make sure that the seagull is able to eat it, and then we
Sure.
continue with other. So we need to.
take it
No.
to-
Go ahead. You go ahead.
Sure.
Just need to check what the French fries has. I think it has a collider. You need to change its tag.
Okay, so French fries have an editable collider. So and the size variable is a value of 0.1 on the float. So for the burger,
What you can do is, so go back to the fries.
Yep.
Click on the three dots. So you see the rigid body, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just copy the
copy
components.
component,
Yep. It makes things easier.
and then paste that onto the burger
Yeah.
as
There
new.
you go.
There you go. And do we want to make the value of this greater than the
Yeah.
fries?
Yeah. Let's put it like 0.15. Not so much. I think 0.15 is good. There you go.
0.15. Cool. And we can do the same for our...
Oh, you need to add the rigid body and the sphere collider to the burger.
Ah, cool. Good point.
You can just copy it from the French fries. Just makes it easier.
No. And
And sphere collider. Figures collider is good. Change the tag to edible. So.
actually, let's just make this circular just a little bit smaller.
I was making them bigger. The ones on fries are bigger, just so it's easier to weigh in.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Otherwise, it's too hard to eat the object. I mean, it's not. It shouldn't be like very physically accurate. It's not like we're doing
Let's just up that
a
radius
simulator,
a
right?
bit. And go like that.
Even a slightly bigger, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, up to
So
you.
set it to
you know.
5.
Yeah, there you go. That's good enough.
Cool.
And change the tag to edible. And I think that should be it. Try.
So
Let's
let's have
see.
a go. Let's see if what happens when we eat this burger after eating all the fries. Gonna go for a glide here. Boom.
Boom! You got it. Cool.
Straight away. Straight out
Awesome.
the gate. Good stuff, man. Alright,
Very
so
good. Let me just adjust it for you.
liking the logic. So we're gonna follow suit with
With our breakfast.
our breakfast. So now this I think actually probably needs a box collider.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Box looks like it's gonna work better.
Okay, let's edit this. It's actually massive right now, so I'm just going to bring this down to size.
It doesn't seem to be centered too, is it?
Yeah, it's not.
No, it is.
Actually,
It was just a perspective.
Yeah. Alright, so one thing when you have issues like this in terms of this box collider is at an angle. So there's a solution to it that I found, like with a few of these objects, the pivots and the angles might not come out as well as you want them to come out. So one solution I found around this, and just like get the scale right, is with the box collider you can, usually you can edit the orientation. I think that's with capsule actually, to be honest. Box, it's not allowing me to edit the orientation. So, but yeah, usually you should be able to edit the orientation. The other solution I have is just going straight into the model and trying a rotation on the actual model. So let's
Okay.
give it that
Yeah,
rotation,
makes sense.
and there you go. So you've got this. It's a bit better lined up to the box collider.
The I think just check on the cheeseburger, the fries. I think the collider should be a trigger.
Ah, yeah, there you go. So it is trigger on the burger, is trigger on the fries. Just check on the box. This we also need to set this as a trigger.
So
Let's give the tag before we forget as editable.
so LinkedIn user saying, what are you demonstrating at the moment?
So right now we're demonstrating how to add new food to our already growing food system, and also how to like make sure that they've got collider tags on them, and they've got box colliders and rigid bodies. So that the seagull can eat them through the game logic.
If you're joining us for the first time, LinkedIn user, first of all, welcome. Thank you for being here. So just a recap of what we're doing the game where a seagull will be able to eat all the objects in the level. So as long as the object is smaller than the seagull. So up until last week's stream, we're working on the logic of the seagull movement and collision with the objects, and validate if the object was indeed smaller than the seagull. And today we are adding more objects for the seagull to eat. So up until last week, we only could eat the fries, and we also had the shark just for a little bit of fun. So now we are doing like a progression. So we started with the fries, which are the smallest of the edible objects. We've added a burger. Now we're adding a full tea set.
Like a full-on brunch meal.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something you can get at like your local cafe.
And to make it clear, the seagull is going to eat the whole thing, including the pan and the teapot and the whole thing.
Yeah, the bigger it gets, the hungrier it gets.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
Yeah.
obviously the more reckless it is with what it eats. So at a point, we're going to get to a point where we want the seagull to be able to eat the trees.
Yep.
And everything in sight. So let's see, it's eating.
Wait, the thing was gone.
So
the tea set was gone.
the tea set
Was
went. The reason why that's happened is because I did add a rigid body. Unlike the other rigid bodies, I didn't copy and paste it. And these ones are set to kinematic. So whenever you're adding a rigid body, make sure you do turn off use gravity and add on kinematic. Which also reminds me, you probably need to add
colliders
some
to the floor.
colliders to the floor.
Yeah.
These have colliders. The only thing is these rigid these colliders that we have on the objects are set to triggers and not colliders. So if you did want to have these also as have collisions on them, you can add a second collider, like a box collider or something, and then put it maybe as the base or something like that to make sure it doesn't fall through if you did want to have gravity on there. But yeah, right now we're not adding any gravity to our objects at the moment. Might be something we consider in the future, but right now
I don't think
we
so.
just need to test it
Yeah.
for edibility right now. Yeah, we just want to eat these things. So, boom.
Hey.
So
Alright.
all of this stuff it just
How big did you set the tea set?
So I set the T set to 2, to a size of 2
2? A full?
in terms of the variables.
A full 2? Oh, 0.2. Okay.
Sorry,
Okay,
0.2.
cool. Yeah. Okay. Good.
It's gotten quite big.
What?
So as you can see, there's a bit of a jump between our fries, burger, tea set, and the shark. So we need some objects to fill in that gap, that size gap. So can anybody in the chat let me know a few objects that you think, put down a few objects. We're going to brainstorm ourselves
Yeah.
some things that a seagull can eat to make it big enough to be able to eat a shark. What can we fit in between a teapot or brunch tea?
I wonder if
Set.
do we have like a roast chicken or something like that?
Roast chicken,
Or
that's pretty
turkey.
cool.
Yeah.
Let's see, is anybody saying anything at the moment? Nothing so far. Come on, guys, in the chat, let us know anything that you want us to be able to let the
There you go.
seagull eat.
Sandy
Chicken.
suggests a chicken.
Chicken's good.
You know what? Since we don't have a roast chicken, let's just put a chicken.
Yeah, we can put a whole chicken in there.
Yeah.
Rooster, baby chick, actual chicken. Which one are we going for?
I would say an actual chicken.
Actual
Oh, a
chicken.
pig. A pig. Check for.
Okay, so let's put a chicken in there,
Yeah.
and then we'll get the pig in a minute.
And then a pig next. Yeah. And then after the pig, I think we should do some furniture, because I
Yeah.
mean, we can put the fries on top of a.
Alright, so this one isn't a good chicken. This
There
is a
you go.
good chicken. Alright.
There you go. And then some furniture like a chair and a table and let's start putting fries in it.
Oops.
There you go. There's our chicken.
So we're just gonna take this chicken, put it right next to the shark. Hopefully the shark doesn't eat the chicken. Alright, so one thing about this chicken is the scale right now isn't really a big difference. There's not much of a difference between this chicken and so I'd say in the food chain it comes before. Even if we did make it really big,
I think
I would probably put it in between these two
Yeah.
in terms of
I think that's a good sized chicken.
scale, yeah. So I'd say the chicken comes here. So can anybody think of food bigger than a table?
Food bigger than a table.
Yeah, because this is basically sitting on a little table.
You know what I'm envisioning right now?
Let's see. what
Like-
we-
In the future, one of the features of our level should be like a massive pizza,
Pizza.
which is like not right now. I mean, in the future,
Let's see if we've got that.
a group of people people that is going to be edible too, of course.
Yeah.
Just trying to break the world record of world's biggest pizza, you know? And then can eat the people and the pizza and, you know.
Pig. We've also got pig in the chat.
Yeah,
We've
some
got
more
farmer pigs. We've got this looks like a warthog, some warthog. We've got an actual boar here. Yeah, I think we'll
Use
go
the
for this one.
Cutest one.
This one looks pretty cute. This one over here.
Let's see.
And let's give him a good size as well.
Yeah.
Right, that's a beefy pig. Okay, so
It should be bigger.
yeah, it should be a little bit bigger. There you go.
Yeah.
Alright, so
It's okay.
we've got two things to add colliders to. So
Mhm.
let's go in there. And let's add some colliders.
In the meantime, any
Let's add
ideas you have, put it on the
capsule.
chat. Thanks, Sandy, for the pig idea. I loved it.
Here's trigger.
So yeah,
Let's edit this trigger. So for anybody who is wondering about colliders, I'm just going to run through them quickly. So we have a few different colliders available with Unity. And they're very useful for stuff like this, like creating triggers and also creating just a collidable object for your component in the scene, so your asset in the scene. So we've got box collider for the 3D world anyway. You're gonna see the 2D symbol next to the ones that, or 2D next to the ones that are only for 2D games. But for 3D games, you want box collider, capsule colliders. You also want a mesh collider. Those ones are the most useful for 3D games, including a sphere collider and stuff like that as well. Depending on the shape of your object, this is why I've been changing it around. You can see this object has got a bit more of a square base, so I went with the box collider. For the chips and burger, sphere collider made more sense because obviously they're very sort of compact shapes. And I think for the pig, it makes sense to just have a capsule collider so that you can do this like nice capsule shape that the pig's got.
Yeah.
Oops, if you look at it from top down, obviously the capsule isn't aligned properly right now, but if I do change the axis direction like I was talking about earlier to the z-axis, you can pull this up and there you go, you've got a good trigger for your pig. Alright, so let's just put this down, collider a little bit more.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah,
Right.
very good.
Make sure it's set to trigger.
Yeah.
You want the rigid body on there, so you just, again, I could copy and paste it up, from here. Copy component. There you go, paste it
And the
in.
mesh collider that Jermaine mentioned, it's so called because it adapts to the mesh of the model. So if we put a mesh collider on the pig, the collider is going to have the exact same shape as the pig's mesh. Now the advantage of that is that you get a much more precise collision, right? So right now with the collider that the pig has, you can see that there are some areas that there is a collider but there is no pig mesh. So you would detect a collision where there is no pig. So that is not as precise as you could get. But the downside is that detecting collisions on mesh colliders are much more expensive in terms of processing. So you need to be very wary of where you would use mesh colliders. You should only use mesh colliders when absolutely necessary, which is not the case of our game, because once again, I feel like the collider should be slightly bigger than the objects because we want the player to easily collide with a piece of food and not feel frustrated that it needs to exactly pinpoint the aim to the food. You know, just give the player some leeway.
Exactly. I think I might have made my pig collider a bit too pig shaped. So I'm gonna make it
I would make it a little
a
bigger.
little bit larger. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
let's go to the radius. Quick and easy slider. There you go. That should be easy enough for the player
There
to,
you go.
to be able to
Yeah, that looks
get
pretty
to
good.
grips with this pig.
And what size is the pig? 0.25?
Yep. So
yeah.
the value is 0.25. So that's slightly bigger than the
T-set.
T set. Let's
Mm.
call it. Oh, it's
I'm
called
calling it
branch blocks.
Branch blocks.
Yeah.
There you go.
And the chicken, I've still got to get onto that. So
Oh,
this burger is
I think burger's 15.
cheeseburger is
I would say,
0.15.
I'd say 0.2 for the chicken.
0.2 for the chicken. Yeah, that makes sense. All right, so let's change this.
Again, we're not thinking about
So,
balancing our game.
yeah.
I think that's beyond the scope of our streams. I don't know you, German. I'm not a game designer, so you know, I'm just making it up as we go along.
That's pretty much being a game designer.
All I want to do is see a massive seagull just eating everything, like
yeah,
in,
exactly.
in,
So
a, in a Japanese Godzilla-like movie. You know.
cool. All right, so a few things that's coming to mind right now are when does it get big enough to eat inanimate objects, and what sort of inanimate objects can it eat? So I did a test run of this game on my own laptop, and I had cars driving up and down the road. So at some point, I think it should be able to get big enough to eat one of these cars. We've got a car over here. I think that will be probably about around the same size as a shark, about an 8. So once it can eat a shark, I want it to be able to eat a car. Let's say on this chicken, size is 0.2. It needs a rigid body. And needs to be correct.
The collider is truly a trigger.
Right, needs to be a trigger. There you
Yeah.
go. Okay, so
I think that's it.
if we go do a quick run through, I should be able to eat all 3 of these things that we've added.
This is great. I love this part. Seeing the seagull just eat.
Ooh. Cool. Alright, so can I get big enough to eat this shark yet? No.
Why don't you? Okay, let's cheat. Just set the size of the pig to like 10, and then you'll be able to eat the shark.
Alright. So let's change that. Pig variable to 10.
10. There you go.
Boom. Ooh.
Oh, of course, you won't be able to eat the pig because your size is not 10.
Not 10, yeah, exactly.
Of course.
So the logic is on point with that one.
There you go.
Alright, so what size did I have the pig before? Was it point
Fine.
5? Alright, so we're gonna actually go into
Furniture.
furniture at this point, because I'm not sure. Boom. Super big there. Big enough to eat the pig. Few more chips and I should be ready to eat the shark.
I don't remember what's the size of the shark. I think
I think it's
it was.
8.
Yeah, I don't think you'll be able to eat it. Will you?
Oh, it's not possible yet.
You know, I just add a bunch of pigs, like we did with the fries. Just add a row of pigs. Just duplicate it. And there you go. Now use the power exponentials. Just select all the pigs.
1 second. And just do 4 and then
Select
Alright, this should work. We should be able to see a shark.
It should go up to 4, and then everything else leads.
Come on. Being a seagull is not easy. I'll tell you that much.
Should definitely add some ladders to that floor.
Yeah. Boom.
Our game is not being realistic. I mean, the seagull can fly across the floor. It's not.
Come on, shark.
Yes!
Boom!
We made it. Look at
that
size.
seagull fly. That is one fat seagull. Alright, cool. So, we managed to get ourselves to a state of eating a giant shark, or actually it's not really a giant shark, but it's a shark. That's a powerful, super strong.
It is.
Alright, so we want some of these parameters to go on some other things. I think 0.5, we need something that's going to give us a 1, so we can eat a few times. I think a chair, a table, should give us a 1. So
Absolutely.
let's get some of those assets in. We're not on the beach side, so we'll just use. We are outdoors. Should we use some outdoors chairs? Let's see if we've got a bench. So we've got like a park chair here with a round table. So many choices. Oh, park bench, perfect.
Nice.
All right, so this park bench is going to be a 1. And it just needs to be slightly bigger.
I'd say it should be a 2. Otherwise, if it is a 1, the seagull will be able to eat it from the get-go.
Good point. So let's see, maybe this is too big. It looks bigger than the
And I
shark
mean,
one.
again, we need to consider, the simulation realistic aspect of the game.
Exactly.
There's no way a seagull would be
All of this needs to be plausible and
Of course.
and scientific.
Exactly.
Okay, so this should be a 1. So let's go and add
A 2.
a 2.
Yeah.
Send a 2.
Yeah.
Cool. So let's add a rigid body. It's already there. Let's change that to trigger. Let's add a box color. Let's add a trigger. Like that. Let's just change the size here. 5, 5, 5.
Rick says seagull nicking chips. Yeah. So the inspiration, again, since he's not here, we can tell his horrible stories. The inspiration for this game is from Gordon, our CEO. He was at Develop in Brighton a few weeks ago, and a seagull stole his chips. So that's the reason why we're doing this game, Rick.
Exactly. And just to show the devastating effects seagulls can have on your games,
Yeah.
we've decided to make one of our own.
In that on that topic, Rick reminded me of something that I wanted to ask. Ever since we added the so-called French fries to the game, I am not from the UK. I'm not originally from the UK, so I don't understand what is the difference between French fries and chips. So if anybody can enlighten me in the chat, please do. Because my reasoning is that I feel like chips are a little bit thicker than French fries. French fries a little bit thinner, but I don't know. I use both terms interchangeably.
I think it's you can use either term really.
Yeah, there you go, Rick. French fries are thinner. Yeah, so I was right, I guess. I hope. I know the difference between chips and crisps, so at least that's something,
Alright, so we're going to eat gang of pigs, some chicken, whole bunch of French fries, and 2 park benches. I've never seen all of that on the menu before, but this is we're pushing new boundaries. giant park benches, and a shark.
We were too busy asking if we could. We never asked if we should. So now we have a giant seagull. Okay, so one thing I want to do now is like do a setting with like a table, 4 chairs, burgers and fries on top of the table.
Good
you
idea.
know?
Exactly.
So we can have like start to properly building like a setting, you know?
That's a good point. But between 2 park benches, you probably need a park table.
Yeah.
And also, I think we need some street lights, some street lamps, so they can be eaten. It's all about the details.
Of course.
Let's see. So is this a park bench? This is no. This kind of looks close. This one, but I feel like I would put that in my kitchen.
What about the round one? That one, yeah.
This one?
No, that one.
This one?
Yeah. That looks like one of those concrete round. Is it? I think it's sideways. No, it's like a.
It's like a coffee table, right?
Yeah.
Let's just see if we can find something closer to what I've got in mind.
Central Park table. How about that?
Good point. I think something like this.
Oh, look at that. Oh,
Quite a few here.
that one looks nice.
This one?
Yeah. No.
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, let's go for this one.
Let's see.
Yeah, let's go for that one.
Yeah.
Alright, where is it? Alright, so it's in there. I'll just make this bigger. Pivot's way off. So what I'm going to do quickly is just adjust the object underneath. I don't think this has helped. Ah, yes it has. Alright,
Yeah.
great.
Cool.
Alright, so the pivot's a little closer, it's not perfect, but let me just make it a little bit more perfect. And then just scale up the original. Okay, so put this table next to the park bench,
It's a little bit too small.
scale it up a bit.
Just. He has drawers, but that's okay.
Yeah, I know.
Our park table has
That's what I was
drawers.
thinking. We've got this one, a bar table. I saw, but it's
think
already
it's-
got food on it. I don't want to have to fiddle about with too much
I
stuff.
think it's okay. I mean, our park
Yeah.
table has drawers. What about the folding table?
Which one?
2 down?
2 down.
Yeah, that one.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I like that one. I will go with this one. We've got this park bench here as well, so we missed that earlier. So let's go for the folding table. And yeah, with all these design options, you're gonna have moments like this where you want to pick. It's like being in IKEA right now. You know,
Exactly.
you want to pick a table, but you know you got your eyes set on one, and then a whole another one comes around. I don't know. I just did.
You press 2. There you go.
Okay. There you go. This is perfect. And it's the perfect size as well. It slots right in to our
Beautiful.
scene. I want to do some organizing, so I want this set to go over here. So we're gonna have a table over here. We're gonna have both our benches.
One thing I was going to do last week, but we had a little bit of a technical issue. Basically, we didn't have a microphone.
Yep.
I wanted to do some housekeeping, just organize the whole objects. They're all in the root of the hierarchy, and that's not how you do things at Unity. It just looks messy. As you can see, now we have a whole bunch of French fries, then a shark, then a whole bunch of French fries. It's a bit messy. So I'll just I'll work on that for next week. Next week we'll start with
Yeah, a lot of housekeeping is definitely.
yeah, a little bit of housekeeping just to make our project seems a little bit more cleaner.
All right, so this has got to be like a bonus set of points.
Ooh, add a couple of French fries on each side.
Yeah, there you go, and a burger.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one's this one? Which one's that one?
I when we first started streaming, the creation of this game, I mentioned that the idea of having the seagull eating stuff and getting bigger came from game Katamari Damacy, which is an old PlayStation 2 game, very good. And one of the things that I always thought it was super fun in that game was exactly this, like this set pieces around the world where you had like there's a picnic table full of food and people, and you could only when you begin the game you can only eat the ants because you start very small, but then all of a sudden you can eat the whole table and the bench and the people. So that was always the most fun part of the game for me. And it really, like, in the context of this game, it really doesn't matter that you see that the burger is floating a little bit above the table. That's all right, Nobody's gonna care about it.
Exactly. You're looking at it from bird's eye view, so.
Exactly. Yeah. Maybe seagulls have like quantum vision and can see the separation of the atoms between the table and the burger. No, we can't. I don't know.
Alright, so we've got the collider set up for the table. Let's just make it. It's a pretty big table, so I think we'll be able to eat that.
That's good. Yeah.
Okay.
So the tables are 2.
So
the benches are 2s.
Seeing as this is a set, we can duplicate this set and also set it into groups. So this is just a bit of minor housekeeping.
I think I think the best way to do it would be like create a prefab with all that stuff and just duplicate the whole thing.
We'll set this one here, and with the rest of these assets, let's go for these 2 park benches first. And I think everything in between, and then we will just actually let's call this buffet.
Nice.
Okay, so we just created an empty, and that empty is right here, and this is perfect for. This is basically what we mean by housekeeping, just creating a few empties and then setting them in groups. So go back to our park bench selection.
Yep.
And we're just going to drop these in here in buffet, and we can move this around now as one big group. So I missed out on this one.
On the branch block.
And let's just drop this into buffet. Go back to buffet and move it around. And
there you go.
There you go.
And I can duplicate it.
So now if we want another buffet in another part of town, okay, that's what happens. So we've got one buffet that shouldn't be in the buffet.
Which one is that?
So it's the
there you go. Cool.
So let's go drop that back up there. Buffet, and there you go. So
you dropped the wrong one.
This is where it all gets annoyingly confusing.
The wonders of game development. And you have to remove the one, the other one.
That's what tricked me the last time.
There you go. Cool. Now you're good to go. Hey, there you go. Brilliant.
Sweet. Alright, so we've got our buffet, which is going to give us mega size. The shark. So maybe that's what makes this interesting now, because you can have a condensed group of small assets that give you different size options, and you can have a massive asset that he's thinking is going to make you big.
Yeah.
It's only going to just make you slightly bigger. So maybe the aim of the game can also be to like figure out, what combinations you can eat the food in as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because like right now, we have all the small edible items on one place, right? So
Yeah.
we're just gorging on them and getting super bigger. But then, we spread stuff around. So like when you hit the buffet table, you're only going to be able to eat the fries, but then you come back and eat the rest of the stuff. So that's when the game starts to become really fun.
Boom! Look how big he got off of just eating this buffet, even though it's floating about. This is where I think the physics will be interesting, because if you had all these objects can drop and fall all over the place, and you got sort of scramble to get these objects, that could be interesting.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
cool.
I did want to show. I'm not sure if we have this in Unity. I did want to show how to have cars driving up and down the street, and that will be an interesting sort of segue to how, when we start eating inanimate objects, like moving cars and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if we have this. Let's see. Add component. No. All right.
What
So
you looking for?
there is a tool. I think it's on the asset store.
Cine machine?
No, it's called a path follower script.
Ah, okay.
So if you go to package manager, you can go to in registry. You can just search for path. No, it's not in there.
Try
So-
follow. See if. Although I don't think it should be there.
Yeah.
Is it a Unity tool or?
It's a free tool from a guy called Sebastian Lage, I think, and he just
It should be on. It should be on the assets.
yeah. So let's go to asset store.
I need to open it on the browser.
Search on
There
that.
we go.
If just in case you guys can hear some background music, we have some interesting vocalists providing us with our background sound this week.
Yeah.
Can't tell you the name of the singer right now because we don't know. Alright, so
And we hope they're not singing anything copyrighted. Otherwise.
yeah, so it's the Bezier Path Creator from Sebastian Lage. Very useful tool for creating path follows and stuff like that. I always use it for cars and it's free. One of my personal favorites. Super easy tool to install, use. Never goes wrong. Never really has a problem with it. So I'm just going to add this to my assets. Click on
I've seen a lot of Sebastian videos on YouTube. He does some pretty good stuff.
Yeah, he created a game about flying, which inspired my the streaks on the wings. He did
really?
that with his flight game because I saw one of his videos. Yeah,
Cool.
super cool developer. Alright, so we're just going to open this in Unity. And while it loads and fetches assets. So, yeah, this is sort of a bit of the process and just coming up with ideas, figuring out different mechanics that we can use, making the scene look a bit more interesting at this stage, and just having a bit of fun with, the mechanics that we already have.
Mm-hmm.
That's sort of the idea today.
Yeah. I think we should do the car paths, and maybe we can do humans walking around too
Yeah, exactly.
in the next stream, because we are approaching the 1 hour mark.
Cool. So for you guys next week, if you do want to see the path creation stuff and the path movement stuff, we'll be implementing those this week. I'm just going to put some cars around, give them the correct scales. But then obviously this is a technique that we're going to use later on as well for the humans. So
And of course, it goes without saying that the seagull will be able to eat both the cars and the humans.
exactly. So let's say the shot.
Oh, I had an idea now. We could do like a burger mobile, which is a car with a massive burger on top of it.
Yeah,
And
makes sense. It's exactly what Seagull will attack. So let's say a van. Let's see. You've got a news van and you've got a van with something on top.
what about the bus?
Bus.
Yeah, the green one.
Ah, cool. Yeah, this one looks pretty funky.
Isn't it called a bus here?
Yes, yeah. I think actually this is called a Volkswagen van. It's like a. You can almost do a bit of camping in this or a bit of motorhoming in this. Super cool design. We're not promoting Volkswagen.
Oh damn! Yeah.
They're not paying us for the sponsorship, so I'll just shoot it from this side.
We'll make sure to blur the logo.
Okay. And then let's just go through just the same thing that we've been doing before with
I think a car is easily a 10,
yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. That's definitely like shark size.
Yeah.
So you can't just eat these straight out the gate. You got to build yourself up.
Yeah.
And let's add a box collider. Why do they come so small, man?
It's funny. I never use the gizmos to edit the box collider. I always just drag and move on the sides, the
Yeah.
values. I mean, it's just a matter of taste, really.
Yeah.
No wrong way of doing that. I guess it's because when I started Unity, the gizmos didn't exist, so.
Yeah. So it just depends, innit? When it's too small to see the little dots.
Oh yeah, it's terrible.
I didn't want to zoom in and all that stuff, but yeah, to each their own. Rigid body.
Yeah.
Make this a trigger, and this also needs to be editable as well.
Mm-hmm.
And let's give this a
It's just it's kinematic.
kinematic.
Yeah,
There you go. Okay, so later next week we're gonna make this a driving van.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna add some humans to the scene.
The humans will walk around randomly.
Also, I do want to play around with the look of the scene. So having just trees is cool, but we can do some trees, some rocks, some
True.
logs, and stuff like that. So I do like the rocks like that you would see in a park with a bit of moss on there. So like some of these. We'll dot these around the trees, and then we'll do some logs as well. What I typically do for stuff like this is I'll just create a group. So let's say I'll get these.
I used to have a shader that it would cover the top of the rock with moss.
Oh yeah, I seen that one. That was
No matter how you rotated the rock,
yeah.
it was so fun.
It's nothing like a cool shader to
I know.
play around with, man.
Shaders are scary. I don't know how to make shaders, so they scare me.
And there you go. So we've got
What is this? There's a tiny thing here.
so this guy's like
Oh, it's a stump.
yeah,
okay.
basically a tree stump. But I think it looks nice.
Oh, it does. Yeah, it's pretty good.
And it's got a little bit of grass.
And it's got to
around
be
there.
edible, of course.
And it's, yeah, you got to be able to eat this.
Of course.
Alright, maybe even some mushrooms actually. That'd be cool. So,
So
like in Mario, you can get those giant mushrooms.
I was
So
gonna-
we can just do like a flock of giant,
I was going to say that
interesting mushrooms.
in our game, our main character is going to eat mushrooms that get bigger. I think I've seen this before. So
Yeah. We also are not promoting Mario right now.
unless the company that creates Mario pays us.
Yeah. So I just think for this woods section that we have, it would be good to have a few different assets in there that make it look a bit more
Sure.
woodsy. So
And some animals eventually.
some mushrooms. So we've got to have some pigs in there. So we're gonna have some other animals in there as well. Maybe some foxes, a rabbit, some deer. Right. So the one thing about the logs is I just want to have them pointing in a random few directions. So let's
Yeah.
just go to the logs and spin these around a bit. We're we might run out of time in terms of adding all the units this week.
But we made some good. We made good headways. I mean,
Exactly, yeah.
we created a whole bunch of new edible things. We created set pieces. I think we made good progress today.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good.
And that's the main point. Is even if you're going to work on something and you think it's taking a long time, the most important thing every time you work on it is that you've just made some progress.
Absolutely, yeah.
Even if it's just switching on your computer. You've gotten a little bit closer to finishing your task just by doing it. Alright, so let's just call this empty logs. I'm going to put the logs in there.
Just the logs, not the stumps and the mushrooms then.
Actually, maybe the stump, yeah, that's a good point. Let's put the stump a little bit closer to the log and a bit bigger.
Mm-hmm. There you go, beautiful.
And then we'll chuck these in this section. And
Are they floating? Because the
Yeah.
shadow. Oh, okay.
they're really high.
No,
Or
from
maybe I'm being too.
No, it's okay. No, it's because from the perspective that we were, it looked like they were grounded. But then
Yeah,
you change.
I thought it was way further away.
But then when you change the scale, I saw the shadow moving. I said, wait a minute.
So these are just gonna go in the woods.
Oh, look at that.
And also with these mushrooms, we'll just create.
I mean, even small stuff like this, it adds so much, right?
Exactly.
And that's why. And I feel like I'm completely unable to do that. Just got this and this and this, but together, boom! Look, it's beautiful. It sucks.
Yeah, there's a few things that come into my mind just as putting this together. If anybody else in the chat can think of things that will make this scene feel a bit more put together or a bit more realistic,
Yeah.
or at least a bit more plausible as an actual, scene. I was thinking a little like brick fence to go around the woods part, make it almost like a little park.
Oh, nice.
Add some green.
And a gate. Yeah. That's you're onto something there. Nice.
Okay, so we've got a mushroom set up. We can drop that in our park.
There you go.
We can even just change the scale a little bit. And just on the floor, there you go. I'll just move this over here. And if you want, you could just spam it, duplicate it across. Right now we're not going to do that because of time.
Flying insects would be cool too. Oh, definitely. We'll have flying animals. I was just thinking here that
Butterflies would be great.
butterflies, we should have some seagulls. And have our seagull eat seagulls. Like
Ooh, that's a good idea.
cannibalism. Yeah.
Also with these rocks, just play around with the variety of the size. So just spin them around, don't have them all pointing in the same direction. Even if you want to tilt it a bit, make it come out of the ground. Just give it a bit of variety, and you'll be surprised over time when you do it with a few different objects. It actually just makes it look almost, even more spectacular.
I feel like I'm watching Bob Ross right now. Just there you go. Look at that. It's amazing.
And get this one.
Maybe spider webs to impede progress.
Another thing you can also think about.
Maybe onto something there, Master Proctor.
Yeah, some enemies. Yeah, that's a good point. Another thing you can also think about is with these assets, you might not like the textures that come with them straight out the gate. I do like the green. I'm not too sure about the grey, so I'm gonna just give that a bit of a light colour.
Oh, beautiful. Look at that.
And also, you just copy this, double click on that, and just paste that colour into the rest of them.
Amazing.
There you go. So now we've got like a bit of a rock group. If I wanted to go further, I would have put some mushrooms on the rocks and then start playing around with the rocks. But I would spend ages just doing little details like this that nobody will recognize.
No, it's. I gotta say, it's a bit hypnotic. Watching it do this stuff. It's so nice.
Put these rocks in there, and then should have all of these guys moving them at once. There you go. So So we've got like a little rock assortment. You can always duplicate these and just rearrange the positioning of
Rotate
the rocks.
them,
and side to
rescale.
side. Yeah, exactly. And maybe I don't like the green so much. I feel like all of these greens are so bright. So should this be as well? So maybe a bit brown like that.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Cool.
Cool. So that we've got, we're starting to develop our scene, starting to create some more assets, starting to add a few different variables in there. So it's coming together. Next week we're going to be looking at getting these cars driving up and down the road, getting some humans in there,
Yep.
and further layout and development of the map as well.
Absolutely.
Cool. Thanks for having me on today, Jay.
No, thank you, man. It was amazing. Thanks a lot. I'm
Cool.
always amazed to see you create stuff like that. I mean, when you do that, it feels like, yeah, of course, that's obvious, but I can't do that. But anyway, thanks a lot, and thanks everybody for joining. As usual, we'll upload the project on Bitbucket so you can follow our progress. And if you have any questions, just let us know. Thanks a lot. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.